Good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. We're about to take you to a news conference happening near Beaver Creek, Ohio. That's in the Dayton area. The site of last night's shooting at a Walmart. It was just after 8:30 when a man walked into a Walmart and opened fire. He hit 4 people, 3 of those now in critical condition, before taking his own life. Let's take you live to the news conference.
We wish to say our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and the families affected by this horrific act. Tragedy struck our beloved community Monday evening, and in the face of adversity, the strength of our community shines through. I extend our deepest gratitude to our first responders, especially the Beaver Creek Police Department and Beaver Creek Township Fire Department, as well as all the collaborating jurisdictions whose swift and coordinated efforts undoubtedly saved lives and minimize the impact of this devastating event. Together, we unite in support and resilience during these challenging moments. Now I'd like to pass the podium on to Pete Landrum, Beaver Creek City Manager.
Pete Landrum, City Manager, Beaver Creek. I join Mayor Stone in expressing our collective thoughts and prayers for the victims and their families affected by the tragic event that has unfolded. Chief Fiorita, unfortunately, is out of state and unable to be here with us today. However, I want to assure you that both I and the entire command staff have been in constant communication with him. We have complete confidence in Acting Police Chief Captain Chad Lindsay and the department's entire command staff to navigate this challenging situation. In the wake of this incident, our focus extends beyond the immediate response. The well-being of our police officers and first responders is paramount. Our police wellness programs and established protocols are actively engaged to support them as they deal with the emotional impact of this event. It's crucial to note that this is an ongoing investigation and information is still in the process of being gathered. The situation is fluid and the details are evolving as the teams work diligently to gather the necessary facts. At this point, I'd like to introduce Acting Police Chief Captain Chad Lindsay, who will provide additional updates and insights to the ongoing efforts to manage and respond to this tragic event.
On behalf of the Beaver Creek Police Department and Chief of Police Jeff Fiorita, our prayers go out to the victims and their families of this tragic event, as well as all those who have been impacted by the senseless violence that occurred last night. On November 20th, 2023 at 8:36 p.m., the Beaver Creek Police Department Dispatch Center received the first 911 call of a male who walked into Walmart with a rifle. As the dispatcher was gathering information, the caller stated the man, later identified as 20-year-old Benjamin Charles Jones of Dayton, Ohio, started shooting. Officers were dispatched within 1 minute, and the first 2 officers arrived on scene at 8:39 p.m. Beaver Creek police officers heard gunshots and advanced toward the threat, locating the shooter, who was on the ground with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, at 8:42 p.m. The gunman had shot and injured 4 adult victims, 3 females and 1 male. The victims were transported to area hospitals. As of 2 p.m. Tuesday, 3 victims are listed in stable condition. 1 victim is still critical, but also in stable condition. Medics with the Beaver Creek Fire Department were staged at 8:39 p.m. and arrived on scene at 8:43 p.m., with transports to local hospitals occurring minutes later. During this time, officers with the Beaver Creek Police Department, along with assistance of several local agencies, continued to clear the building and secured the scene at 9:14 p.m. I want to commend our dispatchers, officers, and fire personnel for their quick response to confront the threat and treat the victims within minutes of the first call. Along with assistance from local law enforcement partners, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, and FBI responded to assist with evidence collection and investigation, which is still ongoing. The Beaver Creek Police Department would like to thank all of our law enforcement partners for their assistance and support during this tragedy, as well as the support that we continue to receive from the community. At this point, I want to draw your attention. We're going to show the body camera video from the first responding officer. You'll see that he arrives at Walmart and is entering the building. As he enters the building, he is searching for the shooter, and at 59 seconds, you'll hear one gunshot. The officer then continues to that threat and then locates the shooter down at the scene.
Where's he at? What's he look like? Where's he at? Got him. 138 shooters out.
I would now like to introduce Zrinka Delber, who is the Assistant Special Agent in charge for the FBI's Cincinnati Field Office.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I would like to start with making sure that the families and victims know that they are in our prayers, and we have sympathy for them, and we support them in their recovery. I also want to commend our partners at the Beaver Creek Police Department, Greene County Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, EMS, and all other agencies that responded last night. And they responded in handling this crisis very quickly and worked to assist those who were injured very fast. The FBI is currently supporting and assisting the Beaver Creek Police Department in their investigation. And as they continue to look at the crime scene, the FBI is currently looking at the shooter, his background, his motivation, and possible connections. We are very, very early in this process of looking at the motivation and this process of investigating. So I just want to mention that we're early. The FBI will continue to thoroughly investigate this matter while we're supporting our partners. With that, I would like to ask the public if they can assist the FBI in this investigation, our partners at Beaver Creek, by calling the FBI and providing any tips, by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI, or by going online and going to our tip line, tips.gov.fbi. At this time, that's all I have. Like I said, we are at very early stages of this investigation. And again, I want to thank our partners for amazing work last night and for their support. Thank you.
We'll now open up to questions.
Any idea what kind of rifle was used by the shooter?
Yeah, it was a High Point 45 caliber carbine long gun.
And did he get the, did the shooter, have you been able to look in the background, see if they obtained it legally, that kind of thing?
That's part of what we're investigating now. We're still in the process of that.
Was there any relationship between the shooter and the 4 individuals who were injured?
Also under investigation. Still trying
Can you
to.
tell us anything about the motive?
The FBI is working on that as part of their investigation, so yeah, I don't have any information on that at this point.
How many shots were fired total in there, do you think?
That is also still under investigation, trying to confirm exactly.
More than 10, more than a dozen?
I don't have that exact. I can't give you that estimate at this point.
Can you talk
The
about
FBI, what
I
information?
don't-
Shooter all, have you had any contact with him before?
That's still part of what we're looking into. It's part of his background and possible motivations.
And for the FBI, what information are you looking for? What do you want people to tell you what they call it?
If they know anything about the shooter, we understand that shooter was resident of Dayton, had moved to Dayton probably a year ago. So not recent, not fully resident here for years. So if they have any information about the shooter, his associates, potential motives, anything like that. Thank
Was
you.
he from here, and did he have a record, do you know?
He was from here and then recently, not recently, moved and came back here.
You know where he lived, where he was before he came back here?
He was a resident of Dayton. That's all we know.
Do you know, 20 years old, was he a student anywhere, was he attending school?
We don't have that information.
Do you have any
Captain,
information?
what can you tell us about any search warrants you may have served overnight, and what led you to those locations?
Yeah, part of the investigation we did, with the FBI's assistance, conduct a search warrant at his residence. And so, we're in the process of gathering that. His vehicle was also in the parking lot, so that's part of the search warrant process also, investigation.
Was that the vehicle you towed this morning, the pickup truck?
I don't know exactly when that was towed. It would have been probably early morning hours at some point.
Do we know if he had a record, any history?
That's part of the investigation, to find out exactly what all, if there's any history with him in terms of criminal history.
Did he have any family in this area, since he's from Dayton?
He did.
Family, and you've been in contact with them?
Yep, that's all part of it. Family, talking to any witnesses that we can, that we have, all of that.
Speaking of the pickup truck that was in the lot, do you have any information about how long he may have been there? There's been reports that maybe he was sitting there for a couple hours before he went inside.
I don't have that right now.
Based on what you know about the victims, would you say that this could have been a targeted attack?
I don't have any information about that. Obviously, that's gonna be part of the investigation, but I can't comment on it,
Were the
if it's
victims
targeted.
shoppers, or were they employees, or a mix?
Do you wanna comment on that?
Sure. I'm Captain Scott Molnar. I'm the commander of the Investigations Division at the Beaver Creek Police Department. At this point in time, all 4 victims have been identified as shoppers. No employees, from what we know so far, were injured during the incident.
And of this morning, you had 3 in critical, now just 1 in critical, so they are improving. So their injuries are not as life-threatening, is that what you're saying?
Their condition is improving. From where it was earlier, the indications that we had yesterday evening, there was definitely some concern, but they were all transported quickly by the Beaver Creek Fire Department. Therefore, their medical condition is improving steadily.
I know you said 3 females, 1 male. Do you know the gender of the person who remains in critical condition at this hour?
I believe that is the female.
Was she shot in the head?
No.
Can you talk a little bit about where those shots may have been? Were they body cavities, extremities?
I can say that the shots were largely random. So they ranged throughout all different parts of the body, and that is, again, a sensitive part of the investigation that we're not going to release right
How
now.
about approximate ages?
That I don't have at this point in time.
Adults.
Yeah, all adults.
Where was Mr. Jones's body found?
His body was found just behind the Vision Center in Walmart,
And
Did
the
he have
victims,
other weapons with him?
where in the store were the victims?
throughout the store,
Throughout the
different
store,
locations
not
in
one-
the store.
Not one particular place?
Correct.
The radio call went out in the cereal aisle, is that not true? Is that not where this happened, or where it started, or?
I don't, I have to look at the report in more detail. There's so much going on last night, I can't remember exactly where it was.
You're still looking for a motive, obviously, and you're still gathering those materials, but, did the shooter post anything online, anything on social media? Were there any warning signs that were out there, a manifesto, anything you might have written?
At this point, it's really too early for us to comment on that. I don't want to be guessing here. This just happened less than 24 hours ago. We're still collecting all the evidence, so I can't really fully answer that question.
Do you believe this
What
could
do we
be a
know about the
racially
weapons
motivated
or the
attack?
ammo he might have had? How many guns? Did he have just the one? Did he have more ammo? Some of these guys come in geared up. What was this guy's situation?
Yeah, he just had the one gun, and we're working on determining, amount of ammo and what else he may have had.
Do you believe that this could have been a racially motivated attack?
We're looking for the motivation. That's why we're working on this investigation with Beaver Creek, but we don't know if it was racially motivated or not this time.
He's a white male?
He is a white male.
Question for Mayor Stone, obviously this is the same store where John Crawford III was shot in 2014. Does this bring back a lot of memories that you know for this community?
Well, they can't help but bring back memories. It's, it's a tragedy all in itself, though. This is the tragedy we are grieving for, and it's a shame in this way that it has to be compared to the previous shooting. But no, we are grieving and investigating this particular shooting. Thank you.
And then what can you say, to people who are getting to the point where they're afraid to go out in public because of these kind of things happening? Are there any comments about that?
I understand those concerns. Obviously, when you see situations like this happen, and it's always one of those things where you don't think it can happen in your community. So anytime it does, it's shocking, it's tragic, and it's just another example of, the need for people to just be aware of what's going on. The response to this was so fast. We had people calling in, and everybody just came together to handle this situation as quickly as possible. And as part of that, we always feel the support from the community, and we know that they're there to support and assist us. So, like I said, it's just a tragic incident, and it's something that we'll continue to train and prepare, hoping it never happens, but realizing that it's always a possibility.
Do you know if Walmart was busier because it's Thanksgiving week? Was that time of night?
I don't know if they had any change in their shopping population or anything at that point.
Likely, right?
It's possible, definitely.
Obviously, he had a long gun. Walmart has readers. Did anybody call when did he try to conceal it? I'm sure you checked videotape. Did he conceal the long gun?
Well, that's still part of the investigation process. We're going through to review all of that video, review the phone calls, talk to witnesses. The call that we had, the initial caller, like I said in my initial statement, saw him walk in with the gun. And
He
then,
had it out. He wasn't trying
correct.
to hide it. Okay.
Correct.
Captain, you said you're investigating motivations. Your shooter is a white male. Are you able to say the ethnic background of your victims?
At this point, we're not going to release that. That's still part of, what the FBI is looking into as part of their investigation.
Can you
How
talk
far did
about
he
the
get into
training?
the store before he started
I'm sorry.
shooting?
Can you talk about your training? You mentioned ongoing training for active shooter. What kind of training has the Beaver Creek Police Department done just over the past months, years? Because this has been happening nationally.
Right. We have annual, what we basically call active threat training, to where we have instructors that will have a classroom portion of training in terms of tactics, techniques for officers as they respond to an active threat situation. And we run through scenarios where officers are actually entering buildings, clearing buildings, responding to the threat. Along with that, we also have a electronic scenario-based system to where officers can interact with this system. It's on a screen, and so they can run through scenarios in that and practice not just responding to a critical incident or a threat situation, but also working on de-escalation tactics and those types of things.
You know how long he was in the store before he started shooting?
I do not know that yet. That's part of the investigation that they're putting the timeline together.
They saw him coming in with the gun.
You're talking about a customer?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many agencies responded to this?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but we had, there was quite a few, agencies from all over. In terms of Greene County, Montgomery County, we had support from everywhere locally, agencies coming to help us with the scene and, you know, make sure everything was safe and secure.
We see this video of this officer going in here. I mean, that's pretty intense. He has no idea what he's gonna face. Looks like he's by himself. Talk to us a little bit about what you see in that body cam.
I mean, that's a good way to describe it. You can feel the tension, you can feel the kind of the adrenaline going just as you're watching it. And in his case, it's, you know, magnify that exponentially. And there was another officer behind him that you didn't see. But their goal and their role in that situation is to locate the threat as fast as possible. So at that point, and you know, that goes back to our training and preparing them for that situation, is as they go in there, it's a one-track mind to get to that threat. And then at that point, when they see him, you know, he had already committed self-inflicted wound and he was deceased, then it immediately goes into, you know, the fire department's assistance and clearing the scene and you know, the evidence collection part of all of that investigation.
How long was he in the store shooting, presumably, before police arrived?
I don't have that number at this point, that exact time frame. We're still looking into that to piece that all together.
Do you have witness statements indicating he said anything as he was in the store or walking into the store?
We have a lot of witness statements. Some of those we're still trying to compile all those. I don't know that specifically though.
Has Walmart told you when they will reopen their store and when will their employees be allowed to return?
I don't have that information.
What are their employees doing, just?
I couldn't answer. Yeah, I'm not sure what their procedure or how they're handling it on their end.
I mean, with these kind of events happening, you know, seemingly increasingly nationally, would you say community response is what people should focus on more? I mean, if we're in this kind of situation and the police aren't responding in 4 minutes or 3 minutes as if, you know, we're in Beaver Creek in another city, what should people be doing?
Well, it goes back to, like I said, trying to do what you can to be aware of your surroundings. You know, always be vigilant, and know, I guess where you're going, what your activities might be. Unfortunately, there's never going to be an exact answer or a perfect solution to avoid a situation like that. It's just a matter of what you can do if it happens. How you can kind of think about to prepare yourself if it happens, to get to safety as quick as possible, call 911 as fast as possible, things like that. So you're mentally prepared if you find yourself in a situation like that.
Captain, this could be for you or the FBI. As you're looking into the background, shooter's background, any indications of potential concerns about mental health?
Like I said, we are collecting all of the information about the shooter and his background right now. Obviously, that's something that we're going to look into it really deeply.
Were there any specific organizations he may have belonged to? Do you know where he worked? Any kind of information on him at this point?
Right now, we don't have any. I mean, we're collecting information. We don't have anything right now that we can share with the public.
So the shooter is 20 years old. The Walmart is down the street from Wright State University. Is there any indication, not necessarily that he was a student there, but he had connections to the university?
We don't have any indications right now of that.
Just a couple more questions. I mean, it was a very quick response time. I definitely would like to personally commend Beaver Creek Police and everyone who responded. But what can you say went into, I know you also do your annual trainings, but that seems like a very quick time for him to be found at 8:42 when the call was made at 8:37, I believe. That response time seems very quick.
Well, that's something that we are proud of, and that's something that we try to, not just a situation like this, a critical incident, but in general, to respond to the citizens as quick as we can. In situations like this, obviously, it's critical to be able to try to deal with it as fast as possible. So that's something that we've always done. We pride ourselves on that, and officers are patrolling, constantly being prepared for something that may happen regardless of the severity of it, so they can deal with it as quick as possible.
Captain, where were the victims, where were they found? Were they able to walk out of the Walmart on their own volition, or did officers actually have to evacuate them? And where were they found in the Walmart? Because you said they were all over.
Most of the victims, we don't know exactly where they were struck in the store physically. I do know that one patient self-transported to the hospital. One patient was taken to a hospital by medic, and I believe there was a second one that transported by medic, but I can't be certain at this point. Trying to remember those specific details.
Where in Walmart were they found? Were they in the grocery department or?
All over, different spots. I know of one victim specifically that was towards the back of the store, in the grocery section, but outside of that, I'm not sure exactly where they were all
And
located.
were they all taken to Soin, or were some taken to the Valley in downtown Dayton?
Chief, can you help with that?
2 to Soin, 1 to Miami Valley Beaver Creek, later flown to Valley downtown.
Correct me if I'm wrong, was the suspect found in the vision center of the Walmart? That's what it looks like in the body cam.
That is correct,
Okay.
yes. Mhm.
That's towards the front of the store?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, question for you. What should be done about the Walmart? It seems to be a troubled spot. I mean, I know it's not its fault, but it seems to be a spot where things seem to happen quite a bit. Is the city planning anything to try and rectify that, or is there a way to do anything?
Well, all I'll state today is that I'm sure the city will be talking to Walmart and seeing what can be improved, if anything. But I do want to go on and say that for today, we'd like to close the session, and all subsequent information will get out just as soon as it's available, and there'll be future press releases. So thank you very much for joining us.
Dan DeRose with 19 News as we get some details into the shooting that took place in Beaver Creek, Ohio. That's in southern Ohio, very near Dayton. If you know where the Wright State campus is, it is just up the street from there. We do get the name of the shooter, Benjamin Charles Jones. 20 years old. He had no connection to the university, as it appears, and the FBI is working on a motive. They have no information at this point what his connection was to Walmart. It does not appear that he was an employee. The 4 people who were shot were customers. Very interesting that they were customers in various locations throughout the store. One of them was in the back of the store. This wasn't like someone who walked in, went up to the cashier area and tried to hit as many people as possible. Sounds like someone who made his way through the Walmart. Again, the 911 call came in at 9:36 saying they saw someone walk into the Walmart with a rifle. The first officer to arrive is at 8:39, just 3 minutes later. And we saw the body cam video of that courageous officer walking into Walmart, first running across the front of the building to get in the secondary door, or the second door. He gets in, he starts his methodical search. He hears that gunshot come from sort of the office area. And by 8:42, so just 6 minutes into that entire situation, the officer finds the shooter dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound there in that office area. Very interesting situation that played out. The timing of which, if that shooter heard the first officer arrive within 3 minutes, did that keep him from going throughout the rest of the store and deciding that he needed to go to a place to shoot himself before police could take him out? So we'll wait for more information from both the FBI and the Beaver Creek Police Department. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now. Our 3.5 hours of news starts in just about 20 minutes on Channel 19. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download